Hello, my friends. Foxes are considered small mammals, which belong to the dog family, and which usually feed on meat and plants, and foxes usually live in the wild, which is the natural environment suitable for animals, which a person did not enter into, and began to modify it in any way. And the word fox usually remains related to the shape and form of the famous red fox, which is widespread in children's fairy tales. But despite the fame of the red fox, it is not the only type of fox, but there are about 27 other types. This is not that our word fox is considered suspicious. Fox means cunning, deceit, and evil. This impression is firmly rooted in our minds as a result of the nature of foxes' lives, especially her skill in hunting prey in secret, which is usually the poultry and goats of the farms around her house. Then a man comes and raises the chicken and raises the goat until they grow up. Jay the fox and took it on the ready. And this is often what people let people describe as cunning and deceit in the first place, despite this description, but in a second fox, let the same people say that the fox is cunning, she is the one who loves him and flirts with him, and considers him her favorite pet. Welcome. On Startled.tv 800, I'm Stefan. And in this episode we'll talk about the desert fox. And before we start, if you are new to the channel, do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell so that you will receive our videos when they are released. Although foxes usually live in the wild, there is only one fox. He decided that he lives in the desert. This fox, he is our friend, the desert fox. It is also known as the fennec fox, which is considered the smallest species of foxes, and one of the cutest predators ever, and despite its gentle appearance that appears weak to you, it lives in the Sahara Desert. I mean, he lives in one of the most inhospitable environments in the world, and the largest hot desert, which occupies the largest part of North Africa, and its area exceeds 9 million square kilometers. And most of the wildlife disappeared from the deserts for many years. You can imagine that there is a desert in this huge area, and there is no source of misguidance in it. How can the animals that live there adapt? The sky over the Sahara Desert is usually clear and free of clouds or clouds. This makes the sun's rays shine directly on it. That is why it is possible to reach the temperature during the day to 50 degrees Celsius. And the temperature of the sand reaches 80 degrees, and in complete contrast during the night in the Sahara Desert, the weather tends to be very cold. And the temperature reached about 10 degrees Celsius. And when you see the desert fox and begin to scrutinize it, and its body's shape, you will understand that this fox has radically adapted to life in the desert. And not any desert, but the Sahara Desert, in its capacity, and its dubious weather fluctuations. And this adaptation made some scientists confused about calling it a fox in the first place. The adaptation of the desert fox to the volatile environment in the Sahara Desert is represented in some of the differences between it and other foxes, which starts from the first, the color of the fur. The dense fox fur ranges in color from pearly white, gray, red, and black. However, you will find the fur of the desert fox very dense, more than necessary, and colored in a yellow-beige color, which resembles the color of the desert sands. This color helps him with 3 basic needs. The first need is to mitigate the intensity of the sun's rays, the second need is the ability to hide from the rest of the predatory desert animals, and the third is to warm it well during the night period, especially in the cold months of the year. The fur of the desert fox not only covers its entire body and tail like other foxes, but also includes its paws and claws. As we said, the sand temperature there reaches 80 degrees Celsius during the day, although you are not imagining it. This temperature is so hot, let me tell you that if you walk at this temperature with your feet, your skin may melt. How about a fox who spends all his life on these sands? It has a protective glove-like fur on its paws and claws. It acts as an insulator between it and the hot sand, except that it is a very fast animal, and its legs almost touch the ground while it is running. The desert fox has long, curved claws, which help it with great skill to dig in the sand with great speed and accuracy, and this skill is very useful for it in digging tunnels quickly, in order to catch its protected prey underground, such as lizards and rodents. However, it will be useful to him in digging the shelter, in which he takes refuge in the desert from predators during the day, which is a maze carved into a giant rock, which the fox digs skillfully and leaves like an apartment consisting of rooms and bathrooms. With the first look at the desert fox, it catches your eye a basic need in its shape, away from the fur. Namely, his ears are exaggeratedly large, the length of which sometimes exceeds the length of the fox's own body. And let me tell you, this call to prayer is not for the sake of the beautiful and gentle look, as you expect, but it has much more importance than this. While the fur of the desert fox helps it to warm during the night, and its ears help it cool during the day, it makes him feel fresh in the scorching sun, and this is done through the blood vessels near the surface of the skin, which draw heat from the fox's body and take it out. The roll of his ears does not stop here, but the ears of the desert fox help him to hear the sound of prey, even if it is underground, as it helps him to collect waves in the entire surrounding area. And when he hunts at night, his ears provide him with the most accurate sounds, even the sound of the beetle moving on the sand, which is more than a meter away. He can also hear the sound of rodents and mice deep underground. For this, he became famous for his hearing acuity, and the great ability to locate prey, even if he did not see it. Although the desert fox, its shape is very cute, it is a carnivorous animal, and as the smallest carnivore animal in a desert environment, it eats any prey available to it, and available in the desert. And this prey must not be a predator that is bigger than him. Like big cats, in order not to mix with them and thus be preyed upon. The desert fox always tends to target small species of prey, such as small rodents, lizards, birds, insects, and sometimes eggs. However, if the desert fox could eat vegetables, he wouldn't mind. He eats fruits, leaves, and woody roots. But one of the strangest needs that characterizes him is that he may not approach water throughout his life. Water is generally not available in the harsh desert environment. You find that the bodies of desert animals, especially the desert fox, extract water from the bodies of prey, plants, and trees. But this, of course, does not prevent that if there is water it will drink without thinking, while the desert fox is carnivorous. But there are no attacks recorded from it on humans, and for this reason and some of the second reasons, related to its spectrum form, and it is also a social animal. Some people raise him in homes as a pet, and it became commercially sold on this basis, as a slightly exotic pet. Unfamiliar, but although it is raised as a pet, it is still an undomesticated animal, and tends to live in the desert. But if you raise a desert fox in your home, you will feel like a domestic cat breeder, or a cute little dog, feeding on vegetables. It works to tame him like other dogs, but he is nicer than them too. The USDA classifies it as a small wild dog. There is also a study conducted in 2015, which stated that the desert fox is the fourth most common mammal in the exotic pet trade around the world. But while you see that this animal is beautiful and entertaining, it is subjected to most kinds of injustice and deprivation. The small size of the desert fox and the large ears turned it into an attractive target in the trade of wild and desert animals, and because humans trade in it, it must be hunted from the deserts, and therefore, it is removed from its original habitat against its will. After humans hunted desert foxes, they sell part of them to pet traders, and the second part is displayed in shops located in tourist places. The fate of this part is the offer in order to take souvenir photos with it, by tourists for a fee, for the owner of the place. In order for the fox not to escape, it is tied up like domestic dogs and even worse. The difference between it and ordinary domestic dogs is that it is basically a desert animal. His distance from his home causes him a state of depression and intense fear. If you look at the pictures of the desert fox that were taken of him, with the tourists, you will always notice that he has looks of sorrow. As for the first part that is sold to pet traders, these traders offer them in their shops for sale, to anyone who wants to buy. Because these animals are originally non-domesticated, the traders wait. As soon as the female breeds young foxes, they take them from her, raise them and prepare them to be domesticated animals. They keep the little puppies away from their mother, and they completely change the nature of their behavior, and this shows that the cute desert fox, not the requirement of being cute, is a beautiful thing. For him, this nice look, prone to many tragedies. And here we are at the end of the video about the desert fox. And if you liked the video, don't forget to like and share. And if it's the first time you follow us, put a subscribe, activate the bell, so that you will receive all our videos, and we will meet in the next episode.